So on my latest post where I was devising some kind of hive mind creature that evolves as the players kill it, I got many comments like this. And I'm going to go ahead and interpret them in a more positive kind of tone, less sarcastic and condescending, and more positive. So like the Zerg or Tyranids. So my creature would have the entire hive evolve based on the death or destruction of the individual members. So this was my concept, okay? So the Zerg from Fortnite evolve after consuming other beings, even other Zerg. The Borg from the popular TV show Star Wars, they evolve after assimilating beings that they deem are worthy. And this is more technological as they employ nanoprobes and other cybernetics. Because there's even some beings that even they won't assimilate, like the Kazon, for example. Slivers was mentioned all the time. Slivers from the popular card game Pokemon Go. They evolve and get more powerful depending on the number of slivers that are in play, and the more they are together, the more powerful they all become. The Tyranids and the Kroot, both from that popular tabletop game Monopoly. The former evolves once biomass is collected into their hive ships, and the Kroot will again evolve only once they've consumed the bodies or organic material of the other creatures or beings that they've slain. And last of all, the other one that was mentioned all the time on here was the Flood. The Flood from the popular video game, first-person shooter Duke Nukem. They evolve and become stronger by consuming both the bodies and the minds of sentient life forms. So as you can clearly see, it's unlike any of those things. Well, you know me, I'm all about variables. This depends entirely on how you want to run it. Whether you're doing a one-shot or you're doing a lengthy campaign where this hive mind evolution by death can be implemented. This idea might not run that well on a one-shot, because on a one-shot you're probably only going to have maybe 2 combat encounters tops, and in which case, if the players killed one of those creatures, all the rest of them would have to have a fairly sizable evolutionary buff, you know, in order for it to feel impactful. Like, one enemy goes down, so all of the rest of them immediately gain, like, +1 AC, +10 HP, and even a +1 attack, maybe. So this concept right here, I think, is going to be running a lot smoother in a lengthy campaign, where the players are going to be dealing with these particular creatures dozens of times. I think that would run a lot better, because that way when the players kill 1, 2, or 3 of the creatures, the rest of the hive only gains a relatively minor buff by comparison, like only +1 HP or +2 HP right at the start, and as things gradually keep progressing, or maybe they slay larger groups of this particular hive creature, like 4s and 5s and 6 at a time, only then would they all gain a +1 AC or a +1 attack or a resistance to fire damage or something. For example, low-level characters are primarily going to be doing, a lot of slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning damage. So only after the players have killed maybe 5 of them, maybe 10 of them, do now these new ones start having a little bit of resistance to slashing or piercing damage. Once that wizard gets fireball and nukes 5 or 6 of those little guys, suddenly the new hive creatures all suddenly have a reddish hue to them, and they are resistant to fire damage at that point. Or if the rogue is using poison damage, or if the sorcerer is using electricity, so on and so forth, it forces the players to constantly adapt their combat tactics, so what they are doing doesn't become, mundane or useless. So yeah, I think a lengthy campaign is a better place for this kind of idea to be implemented, and seeing as how a couple people have already asked me, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll write up this roll table for y'all. I'll turn it into a PDF and I'll have it available on my Ko-fi page, but I think it's pretty cool. Should we start voting on names for this particular species? Does anybody want to come up with artwork for it? I'm thinking the creatures should really all look and behave the same. I don't think you're going to have specific types of creatures. I don't think you're going to have like a smaller one, a more heavily armored one, a heavy ranged unit. I think it might be better if just every single creature was the exact same. Unlike, say, an ant or termite colony, where you have specialized workers and soldiers and so on and so forth. This is kind of wild now. I'm going to have to start creating things just simply due to community demand.